Hit record.
Yes, please do. Okay, I'll do a little recap. So for those of you listening to the recording, we are using our Wednesday night tonight to speak with new coaches about keeping Emerald simple and also for duplicating the system for coaches that join your team to make it really simple and to get out of our own way when it comes to your first of many rank milestones. And when I say simple, I don't mean easy, but because it's not. It's challenging to kind of get over fears like we talked about. It's challenging to have these conversations sometimes for people, but we're going to kind of bust through those barriers tonight. So some of you have been coaching for a long time. Some of you have been coaching for a very short amount of time. And our goal is for everyone on this call who is not yet Emerald to become an Emerald coach next Thursday. It is going to be raining down Emeralds in our team pages, and you guys are going to be celebrating, and the energy is going to be insane because you're going to be celebrating this with your Instagram stories, your recognition. You're going to be sharing like who else is on the team that did that, because the more energy we can create as a team, the more FOMO we create, right? The more fear of missing out we create with people who are watching us and people who are saying, wow, their team is really cranking, like they are generating success, okay? And that's what people want to be a part of. Team cultures with high energy, who they come onto a team and they know they can do this and they see other people doing it, and you kind of get a little more credit in your business for your rank advancement. So let me just take out my notes here. Sorry. I got too many screens open over here. Okay. So Emerald, how many of you know what that means, to like what it takes to become an Emerald, like logistic wise? Cool. I'm going to break this down even more. So Emerald means you plus 2. All right. Your job this week, and I'm going to kind of like give you a little tough love here, guys, because I feel like I haven't been doing you guys, or I've been doing a disservice by being like, kind of like, whatever you guys want to do, like it's time. It's time we bust through these plateaus. By next Thursday, it is you and 2 people, and they are enrolled as coaches on your team, whether that is discount coach or they are like, hey, let's run shit together and let's build a business, okay? It doesn't matter. When you enroll a coach on your team, they don't get like categorized of like, okay, discount coach and put a label on it, and active coach. It's just a coach on your team. And I'm going to talk to you guys about how to do that really, how to transition that conversation into that enrollment. But just know that it is you plus 2. And the first person you're going to enroll tonight, tomorrow, whatever, when you look at your finances, is your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your whoever you live with, okay, whoever's in your home, if you have one. Enroll them as a coach on your team, because I promise you, this is what I was told to do in the very beginning, and I did it because I was coachable, and I did it because I was listening to a now superstar diamond coach telling me to enroll your husband on your account. And I was like, all right, I don't really have the money to do that, but I'm going to figure out how, because you're telling me to do it and it makes sense to me. So the reason we say that, guys, is because when you have your spouse enrolled in your account at the top of what we call a tree, because Beachbody works as like a system like this, okay? So you're at the top of your tree up here, and you have 2 legs. And one of those legs has a bunch of coaches on it that you probably don't know, because they're being added by, let's say, me. Okay, let's say I add a coach and they're getting into your downline. Or someone who enrolled before you is enrolling coaches and getting placed in your downline. So one of those legs is going to be strong and building volume. When you enroll your spouse on the opposite side, I'll say spouse, but there are a lot of options here. When you enroll your spouse on the opposite side, you now have control of an account over here. So as you grow your business, you're building not only your weak leg, but also building underneath your spouse account, so that when you start cranking in this business, they are filling up their bucket while you're filling up your bucket. And when those buckets fill up, you make income, if that makes sense, okay? So when these buckets kind of fill up on each side, it's going into a pot of income, and you want your spouse to be at the top of your tree over here or over here, it depends. Talk to your upline about where to put them, but you want them at the top of your tree. So some of you are probably like, I cannot afford to enroll my spouse right now. Like, I signed up for Beachbody so that I make income and I'm not spending it. Couple things about that. Many of you are drinking Shakeology and using the performance line. It is a no-brainer at this point to enroll your spouse for $40 and to buy one of those two products on their account each month. So your business stays active with Shakeology and your spouse stays active with Performance Line, okay, if you're already spending that money. And then you're building, so when your spouse account buys a Performance Line, it adds volume to that bucket, which will eventually dump into this income bucket that we're talking about. Tough love is the best love. Kelly says first thing she did on day one was enroll your spouse. And yes, or depending on kind of your goals and what kind of income you have to spend, you can enroll them with a challenge pack. They would get BOD that way, which I know is a lot of people are like, they don't need BOD, but you could enroll them with a challenge pack and you would get Success Club points for them. So if that's a goal and you want to do it that way, you can absolutely do that. My advice,
Lisa,
yeah.
What I did when I signed Noah up the first time, because I had the on-demand, was that I actually signed him up with like a DVD challenge pack. And so I got that. So I got the success points. It wasn't as expensive. It was like $140. And then I got the packs of Shakeology so I could give them away as samples. And then I got the DVDs so I could give them away as prizes. So it's
That's
like,
a really good idea.
like $20 more, but then all of a sudden you have like things to give away and stuff like that. And you don't need to have the Beachbody on demand for that.
Good idea. I totally forget, like I blocked out like DVD sets from my brain at this point, but yes, we still offer the DVD set. So that's a great idea. Your spouse enrolls as a coach for free because they're getting a challenge pack. Now you have a DVD to give away to a random giveaway, not someone who has BOD. Obviously they don't need a DVD of the workout they already have on their BOD. Or Shakeology packs or Energized packs or whatever, and you use them as business tools. So great idea.
I do want to throw this in there too, that the 3-day refresh challenge pack is a really good option. Because if you've never done a 3-day refresh, they're awesome, number one. But number two, that's a really great like 3-day quick way to show a transformation and try another product that you can speak to. And your spouse can be drinking Shakeology as well, and or you do the samples like Kelly said. I love that idea, but I wanted to throw this out there too, that it doesn't necessarily just have to be a spouse. Like if you have one, yes, we are like sharing the benefit of doing that off the get-go. But me personally, when I was a new coach, I signed up my mom. My mom, needed fitness. She needed Shakeology. She ended up being one of the accounts that I built to Emerald when I first gained Diamonds. So know that helping out a family member is also an option too.
Yes, and that's a perfect transition because Emerald is you plus 2. So you have your spouse and then you're like, Mom, I just opened this business. Like, do you want to be one of my first challengers? Do you want to be one of the first coaches on my team? Like, your parents are there for you and they need health and wellness, right? Many of them do. Of course, there are going to be scenarios where this does not apply, but in general, your second person is going to be someone who you go and rave about your favorite movie to, who you go and rave about your favorite restaurant to, who you invite to go do exciting things with you, to go to a concert with you, because you're reaching out to say like, hey, I don't know if you've seen, but I have just started my coaching journey and it's a little bit crazy and I'm learning all the ins and outs of it. But what I do know is that I want to do this with some of my friends and I wanted to invite you to do this with me. Okay. You don't have to pretend to, 1, be a coach pro, 2, know exactly what you're doing, to say like, I'm looking for these people to join my team. Like, be open and honest that you are figuring this out and you want to invite your best friends to do it with you. Some will say no. That's okay. And some will say yes. And some will surprise you when you're like, all right, All right, let's do it together then. Yay. But you can't be afraid to go and do that. You need to really dig deep in figuring out, like, why am I doing this? What excites me about this? And if you don't have a transformation yet, if you're like, I'm just starting, like they're never going to believe me as a coach, go to one of our pages and grab a transformation and be like, this is my coach and this is her experience with this. And that's where I want to be. And I'm looking for people to do this with me. And it'll be a lot of fun. And we get to go on trips together and we get to go and do these local events and travel and whatever, and celebrate and get these results and be a part of a community together. And so you want to share that with people. So you all know more than 2 people in this world. Go invite every single person you know. Like, I'm talking about like your close friends. Go invite them and be like, you may have seen me starting this. Have you ever considered doing it with me? Keep it really open and honest and not scripted to the point where you're sending friends a message and they're like, where the frick did this come from? Like, no, have a real conversation with people in your voice. You honestly, you can do it wrong, but it doesn't mean that you've like failed. Like, you can send messages as a new coach and look back and be like, oh, I can't believe I said that to them when I said it. But we've all been there. We all had to do it. It's called failing forward, right? If you look back on all of our posts as like veteran coaches who have been around here for 5 years, like my posts were ugly. My posts were like PIO logos with like terrible word swag words all over them that said like sale and the price, and it was ugly, but it was working for me at the time, right? So you just have to keep failing forward and figuring out what works and what doesn't work. And everyone's saying same. So yes, passion and confidence in what you're doing. Dig deep into why you're doing it and invite people to do it with you. Okay.
Hey, I just want to add to this, because if there happen to be coaches on here that don't necessarily have a transformation yet, or like you are literally brand new and you are just starting, and or you've been around for a while but you haven't shared anything about it, like coming out as a coach is like one of the first things we suggest doing, right? Because people don't know what you're doing if you're not sharing what you're doing. But if you don't feel like you have a transformation yet to share, that doesn't mean that you can't share things like she said, to take transformation photos. But I would also suggest making a post about, like, making a public commitment post, sharing that publicly, that you are committing to a program, that this is the goal that you are working towards. This is why this is important to you. And this is why you chose this route to do this and why you're so excited about it. Because sharing just that like commitment and that energy and that excitement around doing something new alone, it doesn't even necessarily have to be where it's like a side-by-side, boom, this is what I've done. It can be, this is what I'm doing. People are going to start following that journey. And if you are consistent and you are committed and you are sharing that process, you're going to build a lot of trust and credibility for yourself along the way, but it requires you to put yourself out there first. Annalisa, do you want to cover some of these points that are in the comments? Because I think there's some really good ones in here.
So sorry. I was like talking and then realized I was muted. I was like, wait. Oh my God. Okay. Yes, I do. And I was just saying, in regards to your point, sometimes what happens with new coaches is they make a coming out post. And for some of you who have been coaches for months and months, you have to make sure that those kinds of posts stay consistent, right? So if you've been a coach and you're like, I can't do a coming out post now, I've been a coach for 10 months. You make a point to make a post about Transform 20, why you're doing it. And you guys are killing the Instagram story game right now. I see you guys on there. You're doing awesome. Just make sure that you take a component from there and make it a post as well on your Facebook or on your Instagram, so that it's people who aren't seeing your stories. Because honestly, guys, like, how many, I probably make it through, I don't know, probably too many, actually, probably like 20 Instagram stories, but I never see the people, like, if you scroll all the way to the right. So some people are not seeing those stories. So make sure that you're doing a little bit of both, but that coming out post and consistently being out there, so people are like, what is she doing? And it's a combination of, you have to be able to invite, and a little bit of half and half, like attraction marketing. Like, people need to know you're out there doing something. They need to walk by your storefront. Like, your Facebook profile or your Instagram is your storefront. Like, when people are scrolling by, is there something that's going to catch them to say, like, hey, how can I get involved in that? And I was going off on a tangent a little bit, but what were you saying is in the chat right now?
I was
Somebody-
just going to say, because in those comments right there, there's a lot of like nuggets of things that we could address that might be common issues for a lot of people.
Yes,
Right.
definitely. And right before we do that, I just want to kind of just touch on why you want to be an Emerald, more than just recognition. But we talked a little bit about why rank advancement is important. Like, it gives you a little credibility in your business. There are 450,000 coaches or something like that in the network, and only a small percentage of them are actually Emerald coaches, guys. Be in that small percentage. Like, be the people who step above the coach. Be the people who are at summit getting recognized for a rank milestone. I don't know. I'm a big recognition person. I like it. I thrive on it. I don't know if you are or you're not, but find out what it means to you to earn that. Maybe it's just so you have that little plaque in your office and you look at it and you know that that's what you did. You set a goal and you went after it and you did it. We talked a little bit about creating energy and momentum, having people recognize, okay, she's really doing something in this business. And team cycle bonus. Okay, this gets really confusing, but basically, as a new coach, you are kind of hustling for income, meaning like you have to sell something to earn something. When you hit Emerald, you start to become eligible for team cycle bonus. I don't know how to keep it really simple, so I'm just going to kind of stop there, but it's your way of stepping into another income bracket, and it will still be small at first, but as your teams grow and you duplicate Emeralds, that is where the bulk of your income is going to be weekly. That is where the income is going to be where you can go away for a week and still make income in your business without selling anything, okay? You cannot make that residual income without achieving Emerald at least, okay? There is a cap on it of $250, so that's why you want to keep growing. Like, when your volume grows enough to make $250 a week, you have to keep growing in rank, or they're going to cap you at $250. You're not going to be able to make more than that. So that's where rank growth is important. And the last point of why Emerald is important: achieving Emerald and helping a minimum of 3 people a month with a challenge pack, i.e. Achieving Success Club, gives you customer leads. Customer leads turn into income without you doing a darn thing sometimes, right? Beachbody says, all these people are signing up on teambeachbody.com, but they don't have a coach. So we're going to spread the wealth to our coach network. And you will start to see people in your business who were assigned to you. You don't make commission on their first order, but if they stick to it, if you get them involved in your challenge group and they stick to it, you start making commissions on upcoming orders. So become an Emerald and Achieve Success Club, and you start getting those customer leads that you don't have to hustle for, right? They're just coming to you from the company, which is pretty cool. Free money. Not really. You're going to end up coaching them, but sometimes they never contact you. Like, I've had customer leads who do not respond to a single email, but they've been ordering Shakeology for a year. Okay?
Hey,
Okay.
Annalisa.
Yo.
Just a funny anecdote about that. One of my active coaches actually was a free lead for me from hitting Success Club. And then the next month, she was a free customer, and then she bought Shakeology, and then I kept following up with her. And I was just trying to tell her that she should order her Shakeology as a discount coach and not a regular customer so she could save some money. And then she responded, she's like, well, I think I actually do want to coach. And I was like, okay. So you never know what those people are going to turn into. It could be anything.
Yes.
Can I add on to that too, guys? Is the other piece in the beginning when we talked about adding your significant other or family member, is when she was talking a little bit before about as an Emerald starting to build a cycle bonus, then remember that person, you can also as you're growing, get that person and manage their account and get them to Emerald. So like for me, I have my husband at Emerald, so he cycle bonuses every week. So I get his money every week on top of what I'm making. So it all comes back to you and it's all part of your team. So even though it's hard to think about putting someone in there right now, the end result is big. If you keep on the course and everything, then it will result into you end up getting even more money. So each week that helps, and it almost pays. We have him get beach bars, I think like 2 packets of beach bars every month, and it keeps his account active, and we love them, my kids love them, and it basically pays for those beach bars by having him cycle bonus every month, every week.
Yes, good point. Good point. If you guys are like me and you're like, when I started, I was like, I can't afford to keep his account going every month. Like, you can always put them on hold if need be. You just don't want to cancel their coach business fee, $16 a month, to keep them in that spot. They can come in and out of active. It will affect your Emerald status if you don't have more people on there, but that is an option. So if you're like, I cannot commit to 2 orders a month every month, that's okay. But you want them in the top of your tree and you want them to be active as much as possible. But I know there's a lot going on in everyone's individual income and budget and whatever, but you do want them up there. All right. So I have gabbed long enough about what Emerald means, why you want to get there, and how to get there. You plus 2, spouse, or 2 best friends, or mom, or brother, or cousin, or whatever. Jot down a list, brain dump a list of people in your immediate family who would run with you on something like this, okay? Or just be okay with a discount coach. And the other thing is, there is no long-term obligation. Like some companies, you enroll and you have to be tied in as a distributor for 3 months or something. Beachbody doesn't have that, and it doesn't cost them anything more than their challenge pack to get started as a coach. So your next person that you have a challenge pack, we're going to transition into a coach.
Can I just throw this out there? The sentiment of investing in your business, because it really, if you think about it, guys, if you were to start a business, like a franchise, if you compare our business to a franchise, because essentially that's kind of what it is. You are a franchise of Beachbody, right? If you were to invest in a typical business that has the potential of earning 6 figures or more, I can promise you would be spending a whole lot more than $160 and or having to buy products and hire employees and do all of these things that create overhead, right? And with this business, you don't have that. So don't be afraid, if you really want to do something big with this business, to make investments that allow you to really have the potential to grow this into something substantial for your family. And sometimes that takes a little bit of sacrifice at the beginning, right? So that's important to think about too.
Hey, Dana, I'd also like to point out that it's not just about the sacrifice, but it takes time too. You can't, you need to start out with goals and expectations for yourself every single month, but you also need to understand that building something like this really takes a good amount of time. I think Mary Page and I are good examples of social team builder in terms of just sort of sticking with it until something takes off. So don't be afraid to try a few different things out, see what works, but be patient with it. If you're doing something that works and you're sticking to the basics and you're doing them every day and you're like Annalisa said earlier, and you're coachable, that's when things start to roll and pay off. I think Mary Page had her first person sign up today from her business page, and she's been working it for a year. And I remember with me, it's taken me a year and a half to get my business page where it is right now. So, if you're going to go for something, if you're going to invest in, growing your business, if you're going to invest in something outside of just your Facebook page or just Instagram, be patient. Don't think any of this stuff is going to just fly right away. You have to put in the time. You have to just slowly take those steps, and you have to be consistent, or you're just going to burn out.
And for those that were on the call last night, one of the big things obviously she said was on her new coach call with her upline said, be here a year from now. be here a year from now, because nothing is going to drastically change in the next 3 months for you guys where you say, my life is completely changed right now. None of that happened for any of us, but we've had awful setbacks, all of us, but we've never given up. And that's why our business is still always going. And I can tell you, from my first year to my second year to my third year, I have it written down, and money has literally doubled every single year. And it's, if I gave up that first year because I wasn't making the 6 figures everyone was, mentioning, and I was so jealous of, then I'd be back at square one of not doing this and in my regular job and doing what I did all along, which was not take care of myself. So if anything, if you're here to stay on track for you, to take care of yourself, number one, and then the rest follows suit, as long as you are showing up every single day, it will result into something if you are doing the work. It's just a matter of if you're going to put in the work.
So I was just looking through some of the comments in the beginning when I asked you guys kind of like what's holding you back, how long have you been coaching, and some of you are brand new. But this kind of goes for everyone, because Emerald, how annoying, you guys are going to be annoyed because I'm going to say Emerald is a decision. And I know when people say that, I'm like, I know that could rub people the wrong way. It is a decision. It is a decision that I am going to be an Emerald coach next Thursday. When you make that decision and when you set that goal, you do whatever the F it takes to hit it. And it doesn't mean because, oh, I'm like hungry for this recognition or like in an icky way. Like we have magic to share with people, like changing the lives of people through fitness and health and wellness. And if you haven't experienced that yet, keep digging into your Transform 20 journey. But you can't be afraid to go out there and share that with everybody. And when you do that, and when you do the behaviors consistently, you will find people who want your help. So a lot of you were saying that you get held back because a lot of people say no, or you don't have the right audience. Finding your audience can be challenging at first, but there are trainings about things like using hashtags properly, going on Instagram, and one of the behaviors on our business activity tracker is like initiating new connections, connecting with people, following new people. So you've got to make a point to do that, or else the eyes that were on you last year at this time may have stopped watching because they weren't ever interested, or you may have 1 or 2 people who are like, oh, she's still doing that. Okay, maybe she'll reach out to me sometime. Like we've constantly, guys, I'm on my, like when I'm in Instagram, I am making a point to target people to follow, not target them to like hunt them down and ask them, like target them like, this is my girl. Like I want this girl on my team and I'm going to start building a connection with them. And you've got to make a point to do that, because you need to just increase the amount of eyes on your stuff, basically. Okay, that's one way to help you have more conversations and have the right people watching you. Usually you want those people to be people like you, right? So whatever you're hashtag searching, stop searching Beachbody hashtags, fitness, home workouts. Start searching things that relate to you. Like Melanie is corgi mom, and I always tell her to like search out all those corgis. Like find something that is totally unrelated to Beachbody, unrelated to fitness, that you can connect with someone on that level. You can go to their page and say like, they had a video on, I'm using Melanie as an example because it's so unique, but Corgi is the dog. So she can go to that page and be like, how did you train your dog to do that? Like, I have a Corgi, like, or, I don't know. I'm at a loss for words about corgis, but you guys get the point. Like, you want to connect with people on another level and then let them see the undertone or the thread of your healthy lifestyle. And so you can go back to them and be like, it has been so much fun talking with you about corgis. And I feel like I really vibe with you. So would you ever consider like doing what I do and like being a part of this health and fitness challenge or whatever? It makes it way less awkward and way more like comfortable and relationship building. There are tons of ways to do that. Some people like a cold invite. and that's okay. But figure out what works for you.
Can I
Okay.
add to this about
Yep.
this whole connection thing? The idea of taking your posts from being cookie cutter to actually standing out in your feed and talking about things that are relevant to you in your life, whatever phase it is you're going through. But if you're only sharing, for example, if you post a picture that is just a sweaty selfie, it doesn't give people any idea about the story, the feeling, the excitement, what you're working towards, or just like sharing things in your day-to-day life, right? Like we need to give people an opportunity to connect with us. That is like the other side of the component of actually being able to find more people and connect with more people is, are you putting things out there that are allowing people to connect with you and relate to you and resonate with you and feel like they're similar to you in some way, or where they might be interested in what you're up to, or what you're doing in your life, or just who you are as a person, right? So that's really key too.
I think the meat of this call is going to be in making that decision, is setting a goal, like deciding, am I in this business because I see huge potential in it, and I don't want to be at the same spot that I'm in now in a year. Okay, no matter how long you've been a coach before, like you don't want to be here saying, how do I get to Emerald next January, right? Emerald is two people. We talked about your spouse and your family member, whatever. But the point is, you have to go out there with confidence in that you love this job, that you have the tools that people need. You're not offending them by asking them. You're inviting them to something that excites you. And we talk about this a lot, but many of you are new. So it's like the waitress at a coffee shop does not feel pushy when she goes to a table and asks someone if they want coffee, right? And if that person says no, she doesn't say, well, oh, crap, I suck at this. And I'm not going to ask the next table if they want coffee because the last person said no and I must have done something wrong, right? Some people just don't want coffee, right? And that's okay. But you would be pushy if you went to them the next day and was like, are you sure? Are you sure? Or that waitress went to them an hour later and said, are you sure you don't want coffee? Like, it's really good. You sure you don't want coffee? Because I got to sell more coffee today. You sure you don't want it? So you guys get the point. We have something to offer. It's not pushy. You are a business owner, and if you have big goals in this business, you have to be able to go and invite people to this challenge. And I will tell you, I was in jewelry sales. That felt icky. I was asking people to spend $100 on a necklace that I didn't believe was worth $100. Now I 1,000,000,000% know that what I'm offering for $160 is insanely valuable. A year, like we spent that on one program and one bag of Shakeology when we started. Now you get every single freaking program there is out there. So if one doesn't work for them, they can jump into the next one with your support. So anyway, what we have is valuable. You just need to get over your own fears of what they're going to think of me when I ask them to join me. Okay.
Can we address the no component? Because I feel like that's like a huge, scary thing, is that people are afraid of rejection. I think that it's really important to understand that you are going to hear a lot of no's, and you have to learn to be okay with hearing no a lot. No doesn't always mean forever. No oftentimes means not now, or they don't understand the value you're offering, or they don't trust you yet as a person, or they're just not interested, and that's totally fine too. That is a specific set of people, like Annalise is saying about the coffee, like don't want your coffee, that's totally fine. But the quicker you will succeed quicker if you can learn to mentally adjust to the fact that you're going to hear no's, and go into your work knowing like somebody might say no to me today, but I'm not going to let that crush my confidence, make me think I suck at this, make me less excited to share with people that want this. You're not going to start overthinking, like, are they judging me? Or they think, like there's so many, when that fear is in your head and that rejection and that doubt creeps in, it's really easy to let your brain spiral into a no being so much more than what a no actually is, because no just means no. No means no, thank you. I'm not interested right now, whatever. It doesn't mean all of these other things, right? Like Kelly Spencer put in the comments about how someone she'd been talking to for 2 years that was a no just signed up. And I can tell you that this is very true in my business as well. And for a lot of us that have been around for a while, is that a lot of people that come around to sign up with you are going to not be from initial invites. Sometimes it takes 3 to 7 touch points of you connecting, following up, developing that relationship for someone to say yes to you. Emily Blevins, I'm going to call you out because this was totally you. I think Emily probably told me no for about 6 months. But she had a need for this. There was, a great desire for her to work on things, and I continued to follow up with that friendship and connect with her until she finally was ready. And that's what this is about. A no is more about the fact that someone is not ready for something than it has anything specifically to do with you, right? So when you get a no, you have to remember to not take that personally and just keep moving forward with that excitement and that conviction to go find the people that are actually ready to say, yes, I'm willing to commit. I'm ready for this. I want change and I want to do this with you. And if you go through enough no's, you're going to find yeses.
So one of the questions from Heather was like, what do you do when people tell you Shaco's expensive? They have another protein shake they like. And this is going to be a kind of a general answer to that. We as coaches need to ask more questions first so we don't shoot ourselves in the foot. So for example, if I go in thinking, okay, I'm going to sell this person BOD and Shakeology, and I offer that to them, and then they say, I already have a protein shake I like, and I'm like, oh, how about the performance line? It sounds kind of like, okay, that didn't work. Let me try another, like, let me fit something else in there. Instead of like, how's your nutrition? Are you drinking any do you like protein shakes? Da, da, da. Like, you're asking more questions so that when you, and I'm going to step back a minute, but when you get this idea of what they need, you've sort of developed this package in your head already of what the best offer is for them. And that definitely ties in with the call from last night about that questionnaire, about like figuring out as much as you can about their journey before offering them a solution. But some people will say no to all those things, and that's okay. But you want to just have more in-depth conversations with people before you blast them with an offer.
Can I just jump in real quick on the Shaco thing?
Yeah.
With like price and things like that. One of the things that we're offering you guys is our services as a coach for an entire year for $160. That is so many hours of our time. It's like literally we're getting pennies per hour, if that. So what I like to tell people when I am talking to them about being coached is that when I explain the challenge pack, I explain that for the $160, they get me as their coach for the year. They get my accountability group. They get all the workouts. And I just list everything off. And then I say at the end, oh, and you get a free month of Shakeology, which is this awesome protein drink. And sometimes people be like, well, I already have a protein drink. And I'm like, that's cool. Like, this just comes free with the first month, so you can try it out, test it out, see what you think. And it allows them to sort of put that out of their mind and really try the shakes very unbiasedly. Because I don't tend to feel guilty that I'm offering somebody an entire year of all of my work for $160. So I view the challenge pack as everything included, plus this like bonus of the free month. And 99% of the time people are like, oh, okay, cool, no problem. So just don't be afraid to like admit that you're working hard for people. And if we were working for an actual, like, straight up went to work 9 to 5, like if the people that just offered me my job said, hey, we're going to pay you $160 one time for the entire year, like, would I ever accept that offer? No, that's ridiculous. It's so like amazing that we're doing this for people for $160 for the entire year. So just don't be afraid to like put it out there in that way where it's like, you're essentially getting me and these workouts for the year. Yeah, you get the shakes for a month and all that kind of stuff, but just don't be afraid to put it in that perspective for people.
Yeah, so some of the some of the questions from that point, Kelly, are like, what happens with the next month when it comes up?
So what I say to people, and this is, I have a form letter that I've created for people in, what is it? It starts with a C. What's that? It's not Canva, where you can like insert hyperlinks and stuff. And I always tell people, I say, and I let them know in the beginning, I say, just FYI, when you sign up, you're going to see that it enrolls you automatically for auto ship for the shakes. Try them out for a couple weeks, see if you like them. If you don't, it's no big deal. I have a link in the welcome letter for you, telling you exactly how to cancel that auto shipment. The great thing is that it's not, you don't even have to call customer service. And that I know like really bugs people. Like, I don't want to spend time on the phone with customer service. I say, you don't even have to call customer service if you don't want it. It's just a real easy thing to do. I say a lot of my people actually continue the shakes every single month because they find that they really like it. And hey, it's cheaper than a Starbucks a day and it's a lot better for you. And then but I also let them know that it's not required to continue the shakes in order to be on my team, for me to coach them, etc. So I show them like the sides of both of it where they don't feel like they're being duped by me. They know they're going to get how to cancel it. But I also tell them to give it a chance. And then I also let them know that most people that are on my team actually continue their shakes every month. So they sort of like feel good about the idea that they can cancel it if they need to, but they also start feeling good about the fact that this stuff is really good and a lot of people like it. So I sort of balance it out. With those conversations, you guys, I always leave it as a voice message. So like I can sound just the way I'm sounding on here where I'm like, yeah, but it's cheaper than a Starbucks. It sounds better coming from your voice than typing it in because you can insinuate tones and snarkiness for, so I always, when it comes to price, and Mary Page posted a couple of my conversation pieces on Empowered Elite today, but when it comes to price, I always leave it as a voice message. I never type it out unless for some reason, like I absolutely can't leave it as a voice message. So, I highly recommend that because then like sometimes I even forget and I'm like, oh my God. And I totally forgot. Like, you're not just getting this one workout, you're getting all of our workouts. Shoot, I forgot. It just makes you real and I think people appreciate it. But the kicker of it is a lot of times people will see that little voice message come across. If they don't know you, they're going to be like, is this person sending me a virus? What is this? Because a lot of people haven't seen that before. So what I always do after is I wait a few minutes and then I type a quick little message. Let me know if you can hear that. And it just sort of like makes them understand that you're not sending them some sort of weird attachment or things like that. And it's a really easy follow-up because if you forget and the next day you're like, oh shoot, could you hear that? I was on my headphones or something like that, even if it's not true, but it's just a way to like kind of insert yourself back into the conversation. That's all.
I'm going to tag team on with Kelly with that is 100% do voice messages, she said, for like everything you can, because I agree, since I have not been having my like planned out scripts of like what they are getting with a challenge pack and all of that. I used to just kind of cut paste versus now I say it all. I've had way more people that end up signing with me because of my voice. And I've actually heard a lot of people say that they appreciate hearing my voice because they can really hear about how I feel about it. And like half the times, like tonight I did one and my kids were literally screaming, ready to kill each other in the shower. And of course they hear that. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. My kids are going to kill each other. And then like they write back and they're like, oh my God, that's so funny, blah, blah, blah. Like it becomes a real person. But here's the scoop, guys, also to go along with that is do not give them 1,000 options. They are only going to know all the different options if you tell them. If you tell them they can get Beachbody on demand for 1 year and not get anything else, they are going to choose the cheaper route. This is what we do. We choose cheaper routes. We always will. So never even think about that. when people ask me about the programs, I will tell them, you know what, let me ask you a couple questions first. And you go into the question things. What are your goals? What are your overall struggles? What are you hoping to, get out of this? Or what do you feel as though, is holding you back from achieving your goals? Let them do, because I person's going to reason, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough energy, this, that, and the other, where you can be like, boom, I got it for you. In your head, you probably already know it's an all access challenge pack. Oh, it's Transform 20. Like, you already know, and those are probably the two options right now. So then I go right back with complete confidence and say, I've got the program for you. This is why. And then I voice message them, and then I give them a little like video of like what all access package, is all about, or Transform 20. They look at it, they respond. And then if they then come back to me saying, well, I really don't want the shakes, which happens, then I'll say to them, here's the scoop. My job as your coach is to get you results. And I'm going to be honest, after doing this for a period of time, I have people in my groups that do the full package and do the whole program. There are 3 components of the program. If you choose one out of the 3, I cannot promise you're going to get the results that you are seeing me post every day. And my goal is to get you the results so you can feel your best. If you only do one piece of it, it is going to take you so much longer. I can't say you're not going to get there someday, but I can promise you that the girls in my group that are doing the whole program are getting the results at a much faster rate than the girls that are only doing one piece of the program. So having said that, you can do whatever you want. And I always tell them, you can choose whatever you want and I will be here to support you. But I want to get you those results. And just know, if it's something that you find you don't love, easy peasy, you can cancel it after the end of the month, and then leave it. And most times they come back and they say, all right, just do whatever you need to do, whatever I need to do to be able to get the results. I need a change. And I'm like, I got it. And then they sign up and they're done. So have confidence, guys, because they don't know anything except what you're sharing with them. And if you are oversharing, they are going to find a lot of different ways to kind of cut around the cost aspect of things.
Yes, I totally agree and echo Kelly. I do the same thing, and I say, I just say, these are the programs that I am using. So I want to tie this back to you guys, because obviously we have had experience. We have been doing this for a few years. We know we have that confidence in like the offers and the programs and things like that. So here's how you go in confidently. You are doing Transform 20 right now. You have either bought a challenge pack with Shaco, a challenge pack with a performance line, or a challenge pack with all 3 of those things. You are going out to find 2 people who want to join our February 18th challenge group with Transform 20. Okay? And when you talk to these people, you are saying, this is what I got signed up with, and I'm going to share that with you too. Okay? So you got whatever it is you got, that is what you are helping those people with. You're asking them questions first, but you're saying, okay, sounds like maybe what I started with is the right fit for you. That's where your confidence comes in. That's what you purchased. That's what you know the price was. That's what your experience is with Transform 20. And that's how you encourage people to join you. So keep it simple. You guys are all turning emerald next week because you're going out there to ask 2 of your best friends, family, spouse, whatever, to enroll with you. And you're going in and asking them to join the Transform 20 group with you. But they're starting it this week so they can start easing into Beachbody On Demand and experimenting with some of the programs and warming up so that on February 25th, they're ready for day 1. Okay? So keep it simple. I know we talk about a lot of options and things. Find what works for you. That's the beauty of doing these team calls, because you get to hear from more than one person about what works for them. And I know there's only a few more minutes left until 9:30, but what questions do you guys have? Is that a loaded question? What question do you guys have? Or where are you like, okay, great, but what's holding you back? Or who feels like they're going to light a fire under their bootay and hit emerald next week because they want to and they're going to do it?
Real quick too, I wanted to add that for anyone who maybe has like trouble with their budget, or doesn't have that transformation like we were talking about in the beginning of the call, definitely go for the 3-day refresh, especially right now because it's on sale. So you can get a challenge pack with that in your spouse's account, your mother's account, your father's account, or whatever, for pretty darn cheap, and then also get your results. So it's like a win-win for your business. So you get your transformation, and then you also get the Success Club points and another person with you. That's all.
And I know some people say, like, my spouse doesn't support the business or whatever, or boyfriend or whatever. That's okay. They don't have to support the business yet because they don't understand it. But do they support you? Do they support you in your dreams, in what you want out of this? And will they be willing to just say, okay, put my name on your account for now? And they might say, I'm not paying for it, but you can, right? Like, that was Keith. Keith did not pay for his account or the products when we started. I did. Now he likes his Recover and Power Greens and whatever, so he'll do that. But it didn't work that way at first. And it was just me saying, like, I need to sign your name up under here. And you can do you +2 with your credit card. The same credit card you're using for your account can be on your spouse account. And that's okay. You cannot do that for more people. Like, do not, that is bonus buying. That is illegal. Do not do that for more than you and your spouse, I would say, to be safe. Okay?
Hey, Dana, Annalisa, and Kelly. I don't know if anyone else was on. Do you remember when we did the call with Danielle and her husband and some other people, and it was about like spouse support or like significant other support or whatever? That, since our team is really big right now, that could be really fun to do. And I know Noah's probably like, don't sign me up for anything right now, but that could be really fun to do with our significant others, or the people on here who, so for anyone who doesn't know, what we did was, it was when I was just starting out, a bunch of really successful coaches and their significant others came on and talked about the process of like getting comfortable with the fact that their wife or girlfriend or whatever was doing this now, and how they supported them and how they did not support them in the beginning, and how it sort of evolved. And I think that could be a really cool topic, since we have some really new coaches on here, to talk about the way, like how to communicate about it, how to make it work in your relationship. That could be a really fun call, I feel like, and I'll make Noah do it with me.
Get them to Summit.
Yes, we can definitely plan another one of those. That's a great idea, because it's been a while. I do just.
This is Brian's idea of him getting on a call.
You know, he and Noah, maybe we can convince them with shots, Kelly.
Okay. Shot after January. Keep going.
Yep.
Fireball.
Two things I would say, because this has been a really prevalent thing in the team, is I would say, if you have not expressed to your spouse yet why you are actually doing this business or building this business, to share that vision and share that dream with them, because a lot of times they're not going to know what you're doing when your head's just stuck in your phone all the time, or you're getting on these calls that are taking away from your family time at night, or you're, driving in the car and instead of talking, your head's down sending out a share cart link or something. But just share the dream, share the vision and what's possible, and why you're so focused on that, and communicate about what you are doing when you are actually working your business. That's a whole nother call though. Yes, Kelly Spencer. Can I share something from a book I'm reading right now, because I feel like it's really relevant for the belief component of like Annalisa said, that Emerald is a decision, just like anything else in this business is a decision, right? And if you believe that it's something you can do, you're absolutely going to work towards doing that. But if you don't believe that it is possible for you, you are 0% ever going to take the action and be willing to fail and step out of your comfort zone and actually do the things that are required of you to actually get somewhere, right? I wanted to share this because I meant to share it in the team page, but it's just so good for here. So I'm reading right now a book that's created by Keith Callahan, who, if you don't know, is like one of our upline upline mentors. He's extremely successful, one of the most successful male coaches in this company. And he also happens to be Elizabeth Harkey's upline, which is Annalisa's upline, if you don't know. And she's hit the top ranks in the company. She's built an incredible organization of leaders. And this conversation he mentions in this book was about when she had set the goal to hit 2 stars. So it doesn't really matter specifically what this goal is. We're talking about for you, this being the goal of hitting Emerald. And so he explains their conversation where he said she came to him 3 days before she was supposed to hit this goal and said, this just isn't going to happen for me. I need 4 more people. I've failed. Like, I'm struggling. And so he said, what do you mean you're not going to hit it? She said, I need 4 more people. I only have 3 days left. There's not enough time. It's just not going to happen. And he said, okay, what do you mean you're not going to hit it? And she said, well, it's impossible. I just can't do it, which might be the mindset that, has been going on for you about hitting this next goal in your business. And he said, stop going out there and trying to talk to people when you don't believe it's actually possible. You have 3 days to hit this goal. Maybe this is for you by next week. You have 7 days, right, that you're going to lock in on pushing for this goal. Spend as much time as you need, even if it's an entire 2 days, getting your mind right. Even if you pretend, get in the mindset of believing it's possible. If you can take it one step further, I want you to get in the mindset of knowing that it's possible, knowing that it's possible to sign up for or more people, and knowing that it's going to happen. So the difference in hoping, wishing, waiting, wanting, to knowing and believing that this is going to happen for you. It said she left the call reluctant, but agreed to give it a shot. Comes around, she decided to dig into changing her mindset, right? And then showed up to do the work. And she ended up hitting.
I lost Dana. Did you guys lose her?
Can you hear me?
Solid sentiment, but basically,
Can you hear me?
you're back. No, we
I
couldn't.
didn't freeze. That was so weird. I only froze for you. But he says, Liz took the advice and shifted into the right mindset. She knew without a doubt it was going to happen, and she ended up hitting that goal that she set for herself. And that success was a launching pad for her, and she has gone on to achieve the top ranks in the business. So I want you to remind you that, like, every single person in this business that is having success or has had success, or coaches on this team that you see are doing things and hitting these milestones, it's totally possible for you too, but it's gonna come down to the mindset and the belief that you have about it before you actually start taking the action to go ahead and do it.
Yeah. And it all starts, like, when we say, like, who wants to be Emerald next week? And it's like, oh, that, like, all of you want to be Emerald next week, right? You want to be Emerald next week, but the fear of, like, but what if I say I want that and I don't really do it and I don't do it? Like, who the heck cares? Like, do you want to be Emerald next week? Yes, let's go out there and work for it. The difference between thinking it could happen and knowing it will happen, right? And guys, to be honest, I don't give a F if you hit it next week or not, as long as you're working every single day in the mindset that it will happen on Thursday, right? As long as you're in that mindset and you can't do a fingernail more, you are driven to work this business. Like, you've got to show up for it. And if you don't know how, that's okay. You just have to be willing to learn how. And we are there for you. And the team pages are there for you. And, like, creating culture in this team and this energy is what I so very much want for 2019. So just show up to the team page, to the calls, to the trainings, figure it out, and use us as resources. So go out there and get it done this week. And if you are like, leave this call and you're like, I feel stuck, reach out. Like, post in the team page, like, this is what I sent to someone today and it fell flat. Help me navigate this, right? Help me reword this. Does this look good? Is this what you would say? That's what the team pages are for. And we're here to help you do it. But like Dana said, like, it's just a matter of changing your mindset of, like, it's been 12 months, I've been a coach and I haven't hit it yet. Or I'm freaking signing in today. Like, today is day 1 of my coaching business and I'm going to help 2 people this week. Change your mindset, change your results. Promise.
I
So-
just wrote in the comments, but I want to make sure everybody sees it, is that it's the sentiment that taking imperfect action is always better than perfect inaction. So don't be afraid that you're going to fail and lose your footing and feel like this is totally new and weird, but just start taking the action, because you learn so much more in the doing than you ever could by sitting there collecting information and hoping that at some point it's just going to stick for you, and then it's going to be learned by the doing.
All right, call to action in the team page. You are going into whatever team page you're in, and you're just commenting with the 2 people you're going to invite to be your 2 coaches on your team. They may say no, but it doesn't matter. Those are the 2 people you're going out to invite. And when one of them says no, you fill in that spot with another name. Okay? I can't wait to see you guys rock this week. I know you've got it. We've got something to invite to. Transform 20 round 2. Go out there and start inviting and get enrolled on a Team Cup team. Because if you don't hit it in January, achieving Emerald rank in February is going to help your team accrue some points. So keep working for it, guys. You guys are valuable. We appreciate you, and we want to see you guys succeed. So don't hesitate to reach out. Use the team page for the Team Cup, because we are about to be out, and say goodnight to all of you who stayed up late and are getting up early to sweat with Shanti.
Hey, smile, do something silly. We're doing a boomerang. These are my favorite.
Good night, everybody. Thank you so much, and don't hesitate to reach out anytime.